My name's Kevin. Welcome to Word Forge. So, I've seen Naomi's video the day after she posted it. I'll explain the search in the transcript in a few. And I just saw a lot of red flags. Things weren't adding up. There were contradictions. So, I would even dare say that I felt like sometimes she was blatantly lying. Now I'm going to explain. So, one thing that she tells us throughout this entire video is that her and Daniel Greene's relationship was basically clearly platonic. That's what it's supposed to be, that's what it's meant to be. And she tried conveying this multiple times to Daniel Greene over supposedly the time that they were friends. But apparently, according per her words, he still tried to get jiggy with it. But she says things in this video that contradict that. First off, I'm not having sex without lube. Here it is right here. I'm not having sex without lube because I have a medical condition. That, to me, given your choice of words, means that if he would have had lube, sex would have been on the table, which contradicts this idea that you can only be friends or we're only friends. And then the next one is her sharing this supposed text message from Daniel Greene's, at the time, girlfriend, now fiance. I feel like I finally know the full truth. You both are vile, despicable human beings. To do this to another person over years, I'm revolted by the mere sight of you. Another thing that I found questionable, and ironically in relation, is that in this segment of the video, after she shows this, she begins talking, and it's almost to me as if she's trying to make Daniel Greene's girlfriend out to be another bad guy in this whole situation. Because she says, Naomi says, that his girlfriend texted him back randomly after a while of no communication and called her a vile, despicable human being. When we can clearly see that whatever the conversation was, Daniel's girlfriend was referring to both her and Daniel, Naomi and Daniel, as viable, despicable human beings to do this to a person over years. Again, clearly they had some kind of hookup at some point outside of this one, I would imagine, at some point, and that their relationship was not platonic. It was never about it being platonic. And of course, here we have it right here. We were not having an affair. He was begging me for one. I talked him down from cheating multiple times. You expect me to believe this when, again, we're not having sex without lube? Because again, wouldn't it not have been, I constantly told him we're not having sex. It doesn't matter if you have lube. But here's another contradiction. Then why are you sharing the same room? Because that's a red flag too. If you are claiming that you're only friends, you can only be friends, then should you not be treating this situation like that? Your own separate rooms. I mean, how do we not know that Daniel, because we know Daniel apparently, according to her words, arrived after her. So it's totally possible that Daniel had already scheduled the room in advance. So again, this is another red flag that showed up for me was her lube comment, because that literally suggests that she would have had sex with him if he had lube. The contradiction of that mixed with the relationship is only platonic, mixed with what the girlfriend said, because she's telling us what she wants us to believe and to hear. But what was the original conversation that made Daniel Greene's girlfriend respond in that way? Because you note that his Daniel Greene's at the time girlfriend did not say that Daniel is a vile, despicable human being. How could he do this to both of us? So I'm going to say, technically, you really couldn't have been in an affair because he wasn't married at the time. This idea that he was begging, I talked him down multiple times, except when he had lube, except for when he had lube. Then the party would have gotten started. per her own words. Too many contradictions. Now here's another contradiction. Another red flag came up for me. In this video, she's constantly telling us and reminding us that this video has nothing to do with Daniel Greene. I don't know how many people went and watched it, but she literally admits that whatever and however she described it to the police, they literally told her that that's not what she thinks it is. Her regretting having consensual sex after the fact does not make it what she thinks it is. And even after she mentions this part, she further then decides to redefine what she feels and thinks that whole situation actually is. And if we are to sit here and believe that this video is about someone else, well, where's the video calling that individual out? Where's this video calling out this other friend that you supposedly went to Vegas? Which then, of course, brings up the question. So you are telling me, Naomi, that you went to Vegas, apparently to get a tattoo, per her words. And that two men, one of them Daniel Greene, another unknown individual, both were going to be in Vegas at the same time, and you had plans to bone both of them. You do realize that in this scenario, if we are to believe this, that this first video is just a random dude, has nothing to do with Daniel Greene, this kind of makes you look like a whore. Because you willfully consented to sex with the unknown named man, regretted it afterwards, and ironically tried to create charges against him. And you failed. And then, a year or so later, drop in Daniel Greene's name. If we are to believe this convolutedness, which I don't, to me, this video is about Daniel Greene, to which she was already told that whatever and however she described it to the police officer, that isn't rape. Now, let's talk about the next subject. Let's talk about the cease and desist. I've seen tons of people bring up the cease and desist letter as if to say that this is the mic drop moment. This is Daniel Greene admitting that he's guilty. Again, people watched Naomi's video, but they weren't listening to what she was saying. She literally tells us in this video that she was supposedly communicating with both Daniel Greene's girlfriend and Daniel Greene about the cheating and the allegations. But what people are failing to realize is that if I have, as an individual, decide that I get a hold of a lawyer and I say, there's this girl on the internet, we dated for a while, she's making these accusations about me, can we do something? Lawyer goes and watches the video, gets back to me later. Well, she doesn't name you in the video, so how do I know that she's talking about you? How do I know you actually know her? Oh, we dated. Well, do you have more proof than that? Oh, okay, here's some text messages. Okay, do you have proof that she's made this claim before and that it was somehow proven to be inaccurate? Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, she has this first video where she does say the police did not agree with her story, whatever she told them. And if this video, which isn't about Daniel Greene, is about Daniel Greene, then his name would have already been cleared. And then she ends up dropping this video, calling him out, and even explaining that the police told her already that there was no case here. It objectively makes sense that Daniel Greene would get a hold of a lawyer to send a cease and desist because they were communicating before this video dropped. She was supposedly making these allegations. And if she was already disproven, then this, yes, would basically kind of result in defamation, even though she doesn't actually say Daniel Greene's name. And another thing is that you look at the demeanor of her in this video versus her in this video, crying, that kind of thing, which, has its own merit of irony, okay?
She always goes for her walks at night. It's why she wears the yellow jacket so the cars won't see her. They're sure it's her. Yeah. We haven't spoken in days. I thought she was just mad at me, but all this time.
Now, the reason why I show this is because she does this kind of throughout the video, and then she has this what she calls panic attack. But you'll note that from her acting, there's no tears. They didn't even bother to give her fake tears like they do in some movies. And there's no tears here. I don't know about you, but I've never been in a state or a moment where I was in that moment of what we would actually call crying and feeling sad but not crying. I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that this is definitive proof, but to me it was it kind of contradicts itself, especially knowing that she is an actor. And again, I'm not saying that this somehow means that actors crying somehow is disproof when they really are. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because there's no actual tears here. If we were to see any real actor actual cry, I'm sure there'd be real tears, okay? But they didn't even bother to give her fake tears in this. It's all emotions, body language, acting, which to me is the same thing we're looking at. Overall, there just wasn't enough in the I received a cease and desist from Daniel Greene to me to warrant, this has potential to be true. To me, I just saw red flags, especially when you compare it to her first video, which she was already shot down by the police. Because however Naomi described it to the police, they were like, yeah, that's not what you think it is. You regretting having the sex afterward, which again, are we to believe she had two men as a side piece? Are we to believe that this was purely a platonic relationship and she tried to suggest that? Unless, of course, they had Lube, then I guess friends with benefits. And you know, a lot of people demonized Daniel Greene for this. They jumped on the I'm gonna suck Naomi's dick bandwagon, basically, without any evidence. Everybody was willing to hang him, but nobody was willing to wait to see what he had to say, which is kind of ironic because the newest thing from Naomi here is her latest video, Daniel Greene Part 2.
Hello, my name is Naomi King, and this is an important announcement. Was that it? Was it? I don't know, I didn't watch it. My friend gave me the lowdown.
If you didn't watch it, if she gave you the lowdown, tell me, I don't believe that a woman who went through supposedly a traumatic experience would be in a mood or a mindset to mock and create a joke out of something her attacker did. Allegedly attacker. And of course, now that this video's dropped, everyone is like, I feel like an idiot for being on your side. It's like, well, you easily could have came to that conclusion just from watching her original video. Things in it contradicted each other. Stuff didn't make sense. Her first video, if you were to think about it outside of the box, did she literally go to Vegas to fuck two guys? And then she tried to do a rape claim over one of them, and the police were like, no, that's not what you think it is. And then a year later, she's like, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to try dropping Daniel Greene's name. Because let's be real. Again, either we have to believe this convoluted story, or both videos are about all three videos are about Daniel Greene. The only difference is that in the Daniel Part 2, whatever she says, because I'll admit I did not watch it, everyone is like, I expressed my support in your first video because as someone who loved one who's have experienced sexual violence. I know how quickly people are to dismiss and condemn the victim and victim blame. But after watching this new video, it's clear so much of your story was conveniently left out and unplayed, and at worst, manipulative. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see it. This one right here. I knew that from... I knew that day 2 that the video had been uploaded and I watched it. I knew that when I went and I watched her other video. And you know, the irony about this is I think factually this second video proves that her first video is about Daniel Greene. All right, so in conclusion, to do a hopefully quick recap, you know, the parts that I felt didn't add up was her claiming that she continuously tried to tell Daniel Greene that this was a platonic relationship, only friends. But one contradiction was her lube remark, not without lube. She states that in the video. So this suggests to me that if Daniel would have had lube, the party would have got started. The secondary proof to that is the response she showed from supposedly Daniel Greene's girlfriend, the text message where she's calling both of them vile people. In relation to that text message itself, I also feel that that is a red flag because she tries to, in the video, make Daniel's girlfriend look bad by calling her and her alone a vile human being when that's not what the text message actually says. And then, of course, her claim in, you know, text on the actual video that she wasn't in an affair. She was really trying to get Daniel to stop cheating. Unless, of course, apparently when he had lube, then, you know, friends with benefits. And then, of course, the contradiction between her first video and the second video, that if we are to believe that the first video is about a completely different man, then how come she hasn't created a video dropping the name of this individual where she has Daniel Greene? Not to mention that she was also told by the police, per her own words in her first video, that whatever she described to the police officers is not what she thinks it is. Her regretting the sex afterwards is not what she is claiming. And then again, now that we have this new video where apparently everyone is now becoming eye-open to the contradictions that were clearly there in her first and second video, the third video definitely makes me believe that the first video 100% is about Daniel Greene and that the police had already dealt with this situation. And it is really painting Naomi in a bad light. Everyone was commenting on various other videos and on YouTube videos that he ruined his career. I think it's the other way around. And you know, this comment... the comment that we saw in the previous segment that I was reading in the part 2 of Daniel Greene, not this video. But on all his other videos, everyone was willing to sell him out that he was the problem. And yet, if you ask me, what I got from it was this singer, this writer, well, actually, I don't know if she's a writer, this singer, this actress, she's the one that has the potential for doing more harm for victims of actual violence like this. And just so we're all on the same page, my oldest sister was molested as a teenager. Some of my parents, one of their best friends, well, supposed best friends, she would go over, babysit, and that's apparently occasionally when it would happen when his wife was not home. This also never been proven, just speculation. But my parents then suspected, what was he doing to his own daughter? So, you know, I don't have personal experience in this, obviously. But, you know, I'm related to someone who did. And this is the kind of video, this is the kind of situation that does more harm for victims than good. And I think the villain in this entire tale is the person we're looking at and not the person everybody wanted to find a tree and put a noose around his neck.